Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First, before I welcome you and share a few thoughts with you, I'd like to thank IE, the Singapore government group, which have been instrumental in bringing us to Singapore. They are part of the strategy of Singapore implementation of their development as a gas trading center, and their chief executive and their staff have all been very supportive of this conference. I would also like to thank our sponsors, corporate sponsors, who have helped to make this conference a success. Two of them will speak before you in a few moments. The first thing I'd like to say to you is to think about the dictionary. Now, why would I ask you to think about a dictionary? Because the dictionary definition of the word horizon is limit of a person's knowledge, experience, or interest. Now, limit and expand and broaden are very interesting concepts. This conference is about expanding horizons, meaning expand your interests, expand your knowledge, expand your experience. How will you do that? Knowledge is gained from other people. Experience is gained by listening to other people's experiences. Interests are developed by encountering something which you find interesting. That is what this forum is about, expanding your horizons, expanding your knowledge, your interests, and your experience. Now, how does that connect with someone who is only a part of history and not a part of the present? A former president, such as I am right now, is part of the past. And you are part of the present and part of the future. And the current sitting president, Mr. Yaz Ayubolu, is going to lead you into that future. But the past is the foundation from which you spring to the future. So let's look for a moment at our past. Our industry 2 or 3 decades ago was very different from what it is today. It wasn't global, except for the interest and strategy of the international oil corporations, who at that time were the major players, multinational players in this industry. Our global sourcing of product was not the same as it was today. There were significant differences in the way product was moved, product was sold, product was thought about. We had many fewer applications. The foundation of where we are today to move forward is far different from what the foundation was 30 years ago to think about moving forward. We have many new technology applications. You can see them on the exhibition floor. We have a much more global and interconnected system of markets. Singapore wants to cater to that. And we have all of you representing many, many countries. The WLPGA has representatives, members in 125 countries. We have almost 250 members. So it truly spans the globe. This is a strong foundation for an unknowable future. Now, one thing I'd like to emphasize to you in this time of volatility and change is the fact that LPG is uncorrelated to markets. Most of you probably have lost money in the recent gyrations of the stock market. Markets are down. Stocks are usually evaluated by financial analysts as having aspects of alpha, fundamental value, and aspects of beta, correlation to market movements. I put to you that LPG is highly uncorrelated to markets. LPG, as Mr. Rockall has just pointed out, grew 4% last year, robust growth. Primary energy grew much less, and natural gas only grew 0.4%. That's uncorrelated. I submit to you that LPG is uncorrelated for the following fundamental reasons. The world is moving to the use of cleaner fossil fuels as it pursues its transition to a green future which is unknowable in its extent, unknowable in its cost, unknowable in its timing, and unknowable as to exactly what technologies will create that totally green future. Between where we are right now and that unknowable green future is the transition. And gas will be the leading fossil fuel in that transition. And LPG will be a leading fuel for so many of the billions of people who are starting to climb the ladder of prosperity and social development. This is an unprecedented period for sustainable development in countries which have been stagnating for years. We see vigorous growth and planning and changes in governance for the better in sub-Saharan Africa. We see great movements in India and China and Southeast Asia. We see tremendous vitality in the growth of the LPG market because those countries and those peoples and those economic strata desire modern clean energy, and LPG is the first step up the energy ladder, which makes sense for that new prosperity to be spent in searching for a new and clean future. You have a chance to participate in a stage of growth of human development, social development, and market development, which doesn't come very often. This is a great time to see and participate in the growth in Asia and Africa. And by the way, there will be a connection between those two. The Asian market and its major players, such as Singapore and China and Indonesia and India, will find investment opportunities in sub-Saharan Africa, who themselves are looking for foreign direct investment and looking for further cooperation with other countries as they expand their bilateral and multilateral trade patterns. So for you, the world is now interconnected, both in terms of opportunities and also in terms of threats. What are the threats out there? You have to find out. You need to develop knowledge. You have to find out who's competing with you, because your competitors are no longer just in your own country. They're everywhere in the globe. Cylinders can be made anywhere. Technology innovation, proprietary technology innovation that can knock your product out of the market can arise anywhere. Where do you find out about this? You have to come to the LPG forum. So I would like you to feel that you have opportunity, and I would like you to feel that the forum is your best way to assess both what you could do and what you have to compete with. Trading in Singapore, I would like to mention one or two things. It is rare to encounter governments who consistently, over decades, have successful strategy, development, and implementation and execution of that strategy. Singapore is a shining example of what a united people and a government can do with relentless, step-by-step, careful planning and execution of national strategies. Now, development of gas trading hubs and gas intermediation is part of the core Singapore strategy. Not only the hard services, such as physical storage of inventory, physical reloading of inventory, but also the soft services and the soft capabilities which are so important to a major trading hub. Development of a critical mass of education, feeding trained workers into the demand by companies who relocate here with their trading offices, their banking, and their lawyering. There's an integrated ecosystem of physical and intellectual and social capabilities which have to be developed for a trading hub or any kind of center for the world to develop. And Singapore has that vision. This is very interesting. I hope many of you participate in that. The last thing I would like to say is I would like to echo and deepen a little bit Mr. Rockwell's remarks about the role of LPG in human development. Rarely do you have a good opportunity not only to think selfishly about your own welfare, about the welfare of your own company, but also to combine what you do to further that self-interest with furthering the public interest. But I submit to you that the LPG industry is in the public interest when properly managed. It gives accessible, affordable, reliable energy to hundreds of millions of people. And therefore, the UN in the last this month, has finally put into place the Sustainable Development Goals, all 17 of them, and access to energy is a key Sustainable Development Goal. And LPG is the low-hanging fruit, is the top priority for the world development system. I've had many hours with Mr. Kanda Yumkella, who until recently was leading the UN's Sustainable Energy for All efforts. I've met with the entire UN senior leadership and also the UN agencies, the World Bank, and so forth, plus the national development agencies and development finance institutions. And I can tell you that for them, the realization that LPG is now the low-hanging fruit for scalable, large-scale betterment of humanity is, they understand this now, and they are eager to participate in making LPG available, which means that they are eager to participate and partner with you, industry, whether upstream, midstream, downstream, manufacturer, consultant. So in my final official words as somebody who's been part of the leadership of the World LPG Association, I wish you not only a warm welcome to Singapore and to this forum, but I also wish you great prosperity in your twin responsibilities of serving your self-interest and serving the public interest. Thank you very much.